Most studio owners want to scale. So they do a good job with one and they think, how hard could 2 be? How hard could 3 be? Let's have 14 of these. How hard could it be? Few survive. When was the moment you went from 1 to 2 and what was the motivation for you guys to go to multi?
I think for me,
I want to talk about red flags. You're not ready if?
you're not ready if you're still coaching 20 hours and doing all the emails and admin.
I think you just wiped out 70% of listeners. You're not ready if?
Your first studio is not making a profit. It's double the stress, and then you can leverage your first studio to help pop up the second studio.
Yeah.
But no one wants 2 broke businesses, do they?
You're not ready if?
You're not nailing the basics yet. You're looking after your numbers, focusing on things that matter, your sales.
What are those 3 non-negotiable systems to run 6 studios, almost 7, on the way to having 2,500 people under your care?
The first one we actually just recently.
What's been the biggest personal lesson from scaling? If you were to go back to the night before you guys made the decision to open the second studio, what would you say to yourself back then? Like, what advice would you give that version of you guys?
I think for me,
All right, team, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
We're going to get straight into it. As Sophie said, off here on the sidelines, this is kind of the sequel to the episode that we did recently around how to go from 1 to 2 and the pitfalls that people mistake. The checklist that we laid out. We received a lot of messages off the back of that in terms of people that are like, thank fuck you guys had that episode because we were about to go to number 2. Or they went to number 2 and they're like, we scored pretty low on that checklist and I wish we kind of didn't. So this is the sequel to that. I want to welcome you guys. We've got Jake and Steph and Big Val. So you guys, do you want to just introduce yourself in the studios that you guys run? You guys are multi-studio owners. This is a multi-studio owner roundtable. This is what we're going to talk about. You guys go first.
yeah, I'm Jakey. Steph and I are brother and sister, and with our business partner own a couple of studios.
Yeah, I'm Steph. Yep. We have our 2 studios, one in central Melbourne and one in regional Victoria.
Great. Big Val?
Yeah, I'm Val. We've got 6 studios at the moment open, and we've got 7 on the way, and can't wait to get that one open as well.
Perfect. And you guys are all from the BFT network. Yeah. So what I want to talk about is owning a multi-studio portfolio. Most studio owners want to scale. So they do a good job with one and they think, how hard could 2 be? How hard could 3 be? Let's have 14 of these. I remember myself, back when and Benny actually, back when we were sort of both looking to open our very first one, he was going to, he saw the cash flow summary of one of them that we got sent to from HQ, and we're like following along this spreadsheet, like, oh fuck, by month 9, this thing's going to turn into an ATM. Ben was like, I'm going to open 14. I go, I'll take 7. How hard could it be? We struggled with 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Few survive doing the multi thing. So today for this episode, for the listeners, I want to break down the 3 non-negotiable systems that we can all agree on, or that, from your experience, that you must have in order to scale these multi-studios. So that this episode becomes a bit of a survival guide for other multi-owners. Is that cool?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's the episode that you guys wish was, available before you signed on to do extras.
Oh, where do we start?
I know.
100%, yeah.
I'll just kind of reflect from me. Like when we went from 1 to 2, the second studio was 10 minutes down the same road and it might as well have been on the other side of the world. It was so fucking different. We thought we could copy and paste and it would just be the absolute same. We brought the same trainers in. We brought the same training identity and style into the second studio. Even though it was the same brand, it was still another F45. So we just tried to we brought in hotspots, we brought in these ski ergs, we brought in fucking assault bikes, we brought in our style of a warm-up. And I thought they'd love it. They rejected us hardcore. They didn't want to be part of it. And it was probably 6 months of us going backwards before it got before it turned around. Do you want to, so from your side, when was the moment you went from sort of 1 to 2 and what was the motivation for you guys to go to multi?
We were always going to go to 2, weren't we?
That was our original plan, was to start with 2.
Yeah.
So 1 in the city, and then the opportunity came to have a regional one. For lifestyle factors, Jake would be our city correspondent, and then Meg and I would be...
Welcome back from Jackie.
Meg and I would run the regional one. But so we ended up going with 1 initially because COVID, city was no good.
Yeah.
So it was always our plan. We thought, well, if we can do one studio well, why not do 2 studios well? So that was always the initial plan.
I think it's in our blood a little bit too. We always want to be like the best at something, or if we're doing something, we want to go absolutely all in. So one probably wouldn't be feeding us enough. We wanted, it was always 2, but I don't think we knew fully what we were in for.
And similar to you, I think we saw don't talk about P&Ls, never talk about P&Ls, but we saw that and thought, well, if we can do that, what's better than 1?
Easy.
Let's do it across 2. But we started Ocean Grove, and it wasn't until about 18 months into that we then scaled to the second one.
All right, I've got to follow up. I'm going to come back to that. What about you, Val?
Yeah, so we bought 3 territories off the bat.
You bought 3 off the bat. You just went, fuck, we're in with 3.
Yeah, pretty much. So one of the business partners I have and I bought 2 of them, and then another business partner and I bought another one.
Yeah.
We opened 2 of them just before COVID.
Perfect.
Yeah, great timing. Love that. So we were up and running 3 months before they all shut down. It wasn't that hard from 1 to 2 because we had my business partner on the other one. I went to the other one.
Okay.
I think it started to get a bit messy when we went from 2 to 6 over COVID. So there wasn't really a gradual scale. It was like we put on another 4 studios in those 2 years.
Is that because they became available, or were they open territories, or did you take over, or did you start them from scratch?
One was open in the CBD, which is now closed actually.
Yeah.
So we've definitely learned our lesson there. But we took over 4 territories. 2 of them one of them was open, and then 3 of them were not open.
Yeah.
So we did pre-sell everything, and they're pretty much all open then again just after COVID at the same kind of time.
Yeah.
But it just got a bit messy, and just keeping the focus has been really hard during the beginning of those openings. But coming back to the second part of your question, like why I got into multi, I think there's 2 parts for me. The first one is I really want to give people the opportunity to experience exercise and see how it can help you, like it helped me when I grew up.
That's a personal thing for you, right?
It's a personal thing, yeah. Just like the way my mental health and my physical health benefited of actually getting into exercise.
Yeah.
Has been huge, and just giving people opportunity to do that as well.
That's awesome.
And the second part of that is probably I've just this itch to scratch, just like building something meaningful and something with impact. And I can't really sit still ever, and just need to kind of see what's the next thing, and just, doing it with other people has been great.
So there's 6 now, right? And you're about to give birth to a 7th.
Yes.
Now, something changed for you a couple of months ago when we were working together, when you came up with a big fuck off goal.
Yes.
What is that big fuck off goal?
It's impacting a huge amount of people across Melbourne by start of 2027.
Start 2027. Yeah. And that's like membership based across all your 6 or 7 studios, right?
Yes.
How many?
2,500.
Fuck. There's a lot of humans.
Heaps.
That's awesome.
What an impact. What about you guys?
We're very similar in that we want to impact as many people as we can with, that more inclusive sort of gym philosophy environment. We're constantly chasing more and more. We always, that's our goal.
We relocated our Hawthorne studio straight away because we knew we weren't going to be able to expand to what we wanted to with that.
Oh, to make it bigger?
To make it bigger.
Oh, nice.
And then we are going to, can we say that yet? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll say it.
Yep.
What?
We're saying
Put it out
What?
there.
Hang on, is this breaking news?
This is breaking news. We're going to
news.
drop this.
What is it?
We're moving our Ocean Grove studio so we can get more in.
Fuck yeah!
Love
No
that.
more 30 people on the wait list.
That's
Just
so
get them
good.
in.
That's it. You heard it here
Get 'em
first,
in.
OG.
Heard it here first. Coming for you.
OG?
HQ doesn't even know about it yet.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Hopefully we can come through now.
And so I think coming down to that, being able to have the biggest impact you can, having more members in gives us an opportunity to have a bigger platform for change. And our whole point of change is creating a more inclusive fitness space where people who traditionally didn't feel that comfortable and safe to go into a fitness environment can.
I fucking love that. That's so good. All right. So what did you expect versus the actual fucking reality of having multis? Now, just cards on the table. We'll call this like the messy bit. What broke first?
Us.
Oh, you guys. Siblings. Is that right?
No, we're
we're all right.
I think, it does definitely test your relationships because you're under more pressure, more stress, more and particularly the studio we took over, our second one was taking over a studio.
That's harder, right?
It wasn't performing well. There's a bit of clickiness and maybe some toxic sort of negativity stuff going on with existing staff and members, and so you've got to come in and try and turn that around. And it's not making money, so you need to get it making money straight away. So I think, but Jacob probably bore the brunt of that, and then we were kind of cruising along in Ocean Grove doing okay.
And was one paying for the other?
Yeah, we did a little bit. We probably still
a little bit of leverage.
Yeah. So probably in the purchase and then with the move, we have had to leverage, I guess, our profitable studio to support the other one.
And I think moving across so as well, we'd gone from Ocean Grove, we'd gotten it up to close to 300 members, and we're like, all right, great, we're at a really great spot here where we can start to really capitalize. And then I went from, within a week, I was like, shit, they've lost their studio manager there. I'm going to go and work for the old people first and then build this up. So I went from thinking, okay, great, we're going to be capitalizing and it's going to be really great, to then being right in there and really hard slog out again. And
back to ground zero.
Literally back to ground zero. It was like reopening another studio, just the effort that you put in.
Interesting. So instead of like leveraging yourself out, you just found like you just replaced yourself from one studio to the next.
100%, yeah. And just did not have the things in place to allow me to go to that next studio and just be able to oversee it and actually and run it. It was me in there running all the sessions, doing all the team trainings, doing everything.
We didn't have the knowledge at that point. Like we knew like Jacob was sort of the face of it and the hype girl, if you like, and the draw card. But we knew that wasn't sustainable long term. But we didn't really know.
Next head off.
Next agree. We didn't know how to put the systems in place. At that point, and it's taken us time. We're still working on it to get from that point where Jacob's in the thick of it, just putting out fires, to now starting to step back and really be more of a puppet master.
Yeah. Val, for you, like to go from 2 to 6, like what expectations versus reality, like what were the things that broke along the way?
Yeah. Originally we thought, cool, we do it at one studio, we do it 2 studios.
Yeah.
How hard can it be to just replicate at the other studios? Yeah, it didn't quite work that way. We had everything, we had good processes and systems, but nothing was documented.
Interesting.
So,
so it was mainly just based on someone's X factor, or they just knew how to do something?
When I was managing the first studio, right? And then I left there and I said, okay, guys, this is how you do it. Cool. There was nothing written down or anything. So I kind of didn't really give them the tools. So I couldn't have actually expected anymore. And when I then went to the next one and the next one and trying to implement everything we have done at the first one to the other ones without any written documents or playbooks, I just ended up answering questions and phone calls all day long, just putting out spot fires consistently because nobody knew how to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they know how to run classes and all that kind of stuff, but I was always the first point of contact instead of a playbook or like a knowledge base or whatever it might be.
If you guys were to do it again, like, have you felt it was easier to just start one from scratch or to take over one? I've got an opinion on this.
I think at this stage, with the experience and knowledge we have, I think it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I would say now what's work and what doesn't work. So you have the playbooks, you can use the playbooks, put them into place, get the right people in the right seats, which also took a long time for us to. We had great people all the way. Most of them. Let's do this again. We had great people the whole way through, but we found ourselves often with great people, but in the wrong roles. So it might have a person who gets super well along with all the members and the team and is great at all the technical stuff and building a community. But running a studio as a manager was not very motivated by KPIs or by growing the member base or these kind of things. So just realizing this and making sure we vet people properly and making sure they are suitable for the role we're hiring.
Okay. I want to come back to this because I think this is going to be part of your systems. Let's get your answer. Would you start one from scratch or would you take over?
Oh, that's a tough one. My preference would be to take over.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to paint walls and do all that stuff again. Like the whole fit out, all of that stuff is probably, I just want something that's there and we can just go in, put the systems in, put the processes in, and away we go. So my preference would be to take over.
I almost lean towards opening from scratch, because you can start everything fresh and you can set your values, you can set everything from the ground up rather than having to come in and try and change something. Like when we came in, I had someone say to me, "Are you coaching us through the warm-up?" I was like, "Yeah, that's what you're paying me to do. Like that's what I'm here to do. Like of course I'm coaching you through the warm-up."
Might be the ego in me that wants to come in and go, I can do it. We can do it better. We can, this hasn't worked, but it hasn't worked because it hasn't had the right processes. We'll put those in and make it work.
I would much rather figure out how to paint a wall than how to deal with, an abandoned team, which is what we walked into when we walked into our second studio. We found out there were chat groups set up to fat shame other members, and those staff were in those chat groups, fat shaming kind of other people in their team, which we've got a zero tolerance for that. So they had to go. So we were left with one trainer. Okay. And then that 6 a.m. class, most of the bullies were in that 6 a.m. class. I had to turn up there on a Friday morning after 6 a.m. finished, 6:45, they all walked out the door. I shut the door behind them and said, "That was your last session." And, when the business couldn't even pay for itself, I had to basically cancel 15 memberships on the spot. And then about 30 more that were kind of friends with him left the week after. And it was talk about a fucking tailspin. It was like doing these ones. If I had that time again, I would much rather fucking figure out how to paint a wall.
Start again.
And just get some TVs up.
Yeah.
And then you're right, start with, you've got your vision, you got your DNA, there's a way we're going to do this, particularly now that we talk about it so much on our calls during the week, is how you document the opening of this thing and the walls are going up and just how you bring the community along with you. And I think I want to kind of segue that into some systems, right? Because you mentioned just implement the systems. Steph, for you, what are the first 3 systems that you would bring in? If you had your time again, the first 3 that you would start with when you became multi, or if you are multi now, to make sure that you can actually continue to scale and not burn out.
First one would be around the numbers. So really understanding detail on, understanding where the constraints are, what's working well, what's not working well, so we can target our focuses. We're not sort of trying to do everything at once. We can be really clear in what needs addressing, and then also having the team involved in that. So the KPIs, so that, knowing your numbers around your leads, your sales, your conversions, your churn, just being right in the detail of that, knowing it on a day-to-day basis, not just, we were looking at it on a monthly basis, but now we're looking at it daily, and it just helps you to just narrow the day, narrow your focus.
Yeah.
So that's probably the first one, is just having really clear understanding of the numbers. So then that can direct you to, having the right playbooks in place early. So if that needs to be a sales playbook, if it needs to be a coaching 5-star sessions playbook, if it needs to be a member retention strategies playbook.
Did you have these before you met us?
No.
Probably systems developers, they were kind of in our head.
They were there. Yes.
And that was sort of our part in joining, was we know how to run a good experience, but we want to get out, well, not get out of it, but we want to step
Leverage.
up and out.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that when we're not there, things run as though we are there? And we didn't have, we haven't, and we're still working on them. We're not a finished product by any means, but they're all things now that we're starting to put in place. And we've just had a couple of new hires, and so has Jacob, and it's been so awesome to go through that. We kind of started with Geronimo at the same time we hired 2 new full-time members.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've kind of come on the journey with us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really good. So I'd say, the numbers, the playbooks.
With the playbooks as well, though, I feel like we said, we had them and they were all up here, but then where do people go to read those playbooks? Straight to us. And that was So you're making them, accessible, and that they understand it. So we're still working through that. We'll get as nitty gritty as
the cleaning tasks and all those sorts of things. So that, the studios literally just run like clockwork regardless of who's there. So that's where we're, and part of the Geronimo joining process was, we know that we're going away for 5 weeks. So we need this business, this gym to still run while we're away. And not just grow. Not just get by.
Can you go away for 5 weeks and have
That's it.
Not just survive, but thrive. Yeah, that's it. So, and then probably the third one was on team, I think, wasn't
the team
it?
and values,
the team
which
values
is what we actually had probably pretty well. Pretty good.
Again, probably not really recorded well.
Yeah.
Like we now have it up in the reception, and we can really, like, all of our meetings, all of our discussions can revert back to these 7 core principles that the team came up with throughout.
That is sick. So you ran your values workshop with your team? Yeah, great, good.
And I think all of our team could say, if we just said, what's your gym about? They'd all be able to say, creating an inclusive space where everyone can train regardless of who they are. But could they point to X, Y, Z values on a day-to-day basis and go, well, how do we live through those, and how do we,
what are the actions?
Yeah, what are the actions that we put behind to create the great space that we are in? And that was probably a no. And so, again, values, they're there, but did we actually have them set back, and did we set out, and did we actually come and bring them forward every single week? Like now we do it weekly. At the start of every meeting, I'm saying, right, what did you see, or who did you see that exhibited one of these values? And so those 3 is probably our.
Yeah, so we're sort of just going blind. Like we were sort of strong arming our way through and doing things just how we thought we would like things done as a member or as an employee, but just not having it down in a document and in a proper process that if one of us is hit by a bus, then someone else can come in and just roll it. So that's been a huge game changer for us.
Yeah.
And I think I can see the staff are definitely, or the coaches the team are a lot more engaged, and even members, when we have a changeover in coaching, the transition's so much easier.
Is that right? Because the playbooks are there, right?
Yeah. It's not. There's no drop off,
and it's like you guys don't have to come to the rescue every time. I mean, like there might still be moments of that, but it's not all the time. Yeah.
Well, we just hired a new studio manager, and it's actually been
For which one?
For Hawthorne.
Yeah.
And it's actually been really great to see now. If she comes to me with a question, I'm like, hey, there's a little playbook in here for you.
Yeah.
Send her the Notion link. Off you go.
Yeah.
And amazing.
Like,
we had a recent
131.
Yeah.
medical emergency with Meg, and so Meg and I are out of action for really 2 weeks at the drop of a hat, and they just stood up and took over, and everything ran, and we had net growth, and we literally just with 2 hours notice like, hey guys, sorry, we're out for 2 weeks. So it's that.
And they knew what to do.
That was only sort of 6 weeks ago. So
and previously, when you two went away overseas, like I went to Ocean Grove for a week, and I worked in the studio for a week. So it's just by having those systems and processes in place now, I didn't even touch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was good.
It's been
Okay.
really good.
Val, over to you. The 3 non-negotiable systems to run 6 studios, almost 7, on the way to having 2,500 people under your care. What are those 3 non-negotiable systems?
The first one, we actually just recently implemented it, but the whole onboarding and hiring system.
For a team member?
For a team member,
yes.
Yeah. Beforehand, we're rushing a lot. We're like, because we have to have somebody finishing up, we got to get someone else started.
How many staff would you have over 6 or 7 studios?
35-ish.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had 35-ish without a kind of onboarding process you could point to?
Yeah, exactly. And it's, like I said before, it's just taken up way too much of my time, my energy. And it also doesn't really set clear expectations for the team and for the person who's coming on board. And they don't really know what to do. And should I ask about this? I should have just come up with it myself, whatever. But just putting that in place. And just before we're hiring someone, even now, we just send out like a pre-hiring handbook, which kind of lists our values, our mission, our vision.
That's what you do now?
Yes.
Great.
And kind of get them to commit, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. This is how we want to try, or this is how we're impacting people.
Yeah.
This is what we want to get to. This is why we're doing what we're doing. And only if they agree, yes, it's absolutely aligned with me and I want to come with you on the journey, then we go on to the next step of an offer. And then when they come on board, we have a thorough kind of onboarding process before they even step into the studio. They go through, we use your Notion as well, just the whole process of learning about us, learning about the studio, learning about pretty much anything they need to run the studio.
And you guys have all done your team handbook, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So how long does your onboarding process take for a new team member?
Leadership position?
Yeah.
We give them 30 days.
Yeah.
Ideally, we get them for the first half, which is all the operational stuff, pretty quickly in the first week, and then they spend a bit of time with the other leadership person.
Great.
We have a manager and an assistant manager who's sharing responsibilities quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they work hand in hand for a little bit, and then once they kind of figured out they've done the operational stuff, they then move on to running their own shifts. But we would expect after 30 days that there isn't anything that they can't do.
Okay. So onboarding, staff onboarding, so you can scale. You could scale your culture as well. That's that one. And what was the second one?
Again, we only brought it in recently, but the dual converter system has been a game changer for the team, especially. Previously, they spent 25% of their day just chasing leads and often coaching when when the lead inquires, which they couldn't get a hold of afterwards because they probably ended up working or have moved on to something new, shiny.
Have you guys are you guys using the dual converter framework?
That's in our discussions at the moment.
Yeah.
Dude, I have never seen something scale a studio as fast as the dual converter framework. Yeah. Was that noise? Dual converter, like salesperson on the side, someone down there, quarterback, the sale, bang, roll over, that person that focus on that. One KPI over here, one KPI down there.
Yeah.
That is the gangster move. That is absolutely the gangster move.
Yeah, for us, it's just been amazing. Like we maintain our conversion rate at 40% from a lead to an intro offer.
Yeah.
Our intro offer is now $299 rather than $33.
That's hot.
And the team has so much more time to actually focus on the member experience and do what we actually pride ourselves on so much, which is caring for the person and giving a shit.
And what's your rollover at now?
Our rollover is across the studios between 80 and 85%.
So the first sale is at 40+%.
Yep.
And then the second sale or the rollovers is 80+%. You would be fucking flying. You keep that going, you'll be fucking flying. Now, obviously, over the next couple of months, we're something called winter gets in the way for some people out there, those people. But you guys have got a secret weapon, which we've done. I think an episode dropped on that last week or the week before.
This morning.
This morning, was it? Yeah, yesterday. So that's that one. But that you must be flying. And particularly because your churn's dropped as well, right?
Our churn has dropped.
Yeah, okay.
What's really beneficial is for the team is just they have less stress on the sales. And a lot of people in the fitness industry don't enjoy selling. So it's really giving them back what they like the most, which is looking after the members and the experience. And
so who's doing your sales then?
Oh, we have a remote person, not two remote people.
Huh? She's a gun. Yeah. I think I did a sales call recording for one of your people. Was it? Have I done? Oh no, a mystery shop someone?
I mystery shop Amy.
Did I mystery shop Jake's guy?
Ooh.
He doesn't have a guy.
I've got a girl.
Okay, no, someone else then.
Maybe yours.
Could be one of our guys.
Maybe she just has a really deep voice.
Yeah.
There was someone else that I said I was from Point Cook.
Oh, that's Trev.
No, but it wasn't Trav's person. Oh, it was Eric's person.
Eric, no, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking roasted him. Roasted him. Eric, if you're listening, mate, he's a good guy. Just give him the feedback. All right. So the first thing was onboarding. Second thing was the dual converter framework. Yep. What's the third thing?
The right bumps in the right seats.
That's huge. It's absolutely fucking huge.
Yeah.
What was one or two people? You don't have to say their names, but like, what were you struggling with that person, and then you switched them over, and then all of a sudden they flourished?
Yeah, so one of our studios, we had someone with us for a long time, and they were fantastic. Like the members loved them.
Yeah.
Incredibly on the floor, did everything like they could to create an amazing community and cared incredibly for the members. But the drive and the interest in growing the business and the managerial task wasn't really there. So they moved on at some point, and then we had a new person come in, and within a month and a half, they put on 40 members.
What role was that?
It's a studio manager role.
Wow. So if I'm a studio manager in one of your 6 studios, what are my KPIs?
It's your 40% for the salesperson, but then as a studio manager, you would have 80% rollovers from your intro offer into membership.
Yeah.
Got your less than 5% churn. And we're trying also for 10% suspensions, which is
love
winter and a bit of a nightmare. But the two that really matter, and we get them to focus on and constantly report and be visible to them is the churn and rollover.
That's good. And who does all the admin across the 6 studios?
We have a VA.
Good.
Who's doing a lot of the content stuff. There's still like emails and whatnot. We're still using the studio managers and working on a few things in the background to get suspension processed automatically and whatnot. So just to take away admin load from the managers to continue them to focus on what's important to
All right. So basically what I'm hearing here is like the jump, like you guys had reasons to go from 1 to 2 or 2 to 6. You had an idea of how it would be. And then, like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Yeah. We all had that moment when we got that additional studio. But you've worked your way through it now, and we realise that actually you can fluke one, but to have multis that work and not be the ones that sort of fail like so many others, you've got to have systems in place. Because it's not about you. You guys can't be in 6 places at once, 2 places at once, particularly if they're a fucking regional city, that situation. So I want to talk about the sort of, you guys have also mentioned like the top 3 systems that you would implement if you did it again. I want to talk about red flags, right? For those that are listening that are thinking that they want to go multis, right? This is going to rapid fire stuff. It's going to be like, you're not ready if, okay? So if you're speaking to an earlier version of Jakey and you're like, listen, mate, you're not ready if.
You're not ready if you're still coaching 20 hours and doing all the emails and admin.
Fuck. I think you just wiped out 70% of the listeners.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. All right. You're not ready if?
Your first studio is not making a profit.
That's really clear. You're not ready. Well, otherwise, why? Like otherwise?
Well, it's double the stress, and then, you can leverage your first studio to help prop up your second studio.
Yeah.
But no one wants 2 broke businesses, do they?
That's a fucking hook. That's a fucking hook. You're not ready if?
You're not nailing the basics yet.
Like what?
Looking after your numbers, focusing on the things that matter, your sales, your lead gen.
When you say numbers,
Yeah.
right? Like we know what that means because we look at the same thing. But for someone out there, is that like 1 number? Is that 2 numbers? And what numbers are we talking about?
I mean, you probably want to start from where you want the studio to be, right? And then you deconstruct it backwards and look at how many leads do you need, how many rollovers do you need, how many people you can lose during each week, etc. Those are the numbers we're focusing on, which is your lead volume, your conversion rate from lead to intro offer, your rollovers from intro offer to sale, and then our churn rate as well.
Yeah. And just for the listeners, how often do we track these numbers, guys?
Daily.
Yeah. And then what day do these get submitted with a bit of a...
Monday.
Fuck, if you try and do it on Monday, mate, you'll get locked out.
Friday/Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm neurotic, so it's a Sunday, but Friday.
Yeah. Good.
Just fucking 3 days, get it done.
Yeah. Well, just so for the listeners
do it
to
on
know,
Friday.
we get these guys to fill out these numbers every single week. Valcross is doing it on Monday. That's why he gets locked out. The form locks at Sunday midnight. The reason why we do them Friday numbers is because, like, as the story goes, that's when I was like, fucked at my studio, like broke. There's broke and then there's broke. I was broke. And I went to my accountant and said, Jace, I think I'm going to drive an Uber to pay for the nappies, man. And then he leaned over the table and said, if you've got enough time to drive an Uber, you've got enough time to grow your fucking business. So I want you to send me a message every Friday, not a story, just a number, is how many sales you made that week. And that's what I did. And to this day, like I'm still registered on Uber as a driver and any other drivers out there.
What's
like,
your rating?
Well, I haven't started. But what happens is like when you book an Uber, if you're registered as a driver, it's first name, middle name that pops up. So whenever we get an Uber, they go, enter Robert. And I go, driver. But that's why it's Friday numbers, right? Because it's like you get to the end of the week. Did I win the week or not? Not next Monday. Did I win the week or not? Yeah. So that we can earn that weekend. Because to your point, Like, how do we break down 2,500 members in 2 years' time down to what do I need this week? And then that creates your win the week target. It's the same as what you guys are doing. Now you're opening a bigger studio, which is huge, breaking news. Like, it just comes down to breaking down the numbers and where do we need to get to by the end of this week. Like, and that win the week is a system, because what that does is it points you to a target that you can unite your team around, and then you apply intensity. That's the thing that we feel like is missing the most when we meet people, okay? It's not a lack of want. It's not a lack of heart. And it's not because they haven't been doing work the whole time. We've never met a bludger. It's just that they're working on the wrong things and they don't have the intensity.
I think on those numbers as well, we found, I've found recently, even drilling down again, like you guys say, do the check-in on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And see where you're at and shift gears. Like, we'd be checking weekly we'd check our numbers monthly, and then we moved it to weekly. But then, it's too late to make a change then. If you check it on Wednesday, it's like, okay, well, why are we still working on this over here when we should really be drilling in on this? We've got these people that are all kind of maybes. Get them in.
Love. Yeah, you're going at a speed that will get you somewhere when you are making a call on a Wednesday and like changing the direction of what the next 2 days looks like based on reverse engineering an 80% rollover or hitting your monthly numbers. Like today, as we sit here, it's the 29th, right? So 2 days out from end of month. Did you have a win the month target before we started May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes. Do you think you'll hit yours?
We're close to, yeah.
Do you think you'll hit it?
We're already there.
You're already there.
We're past it.
At OG, you're already there?
Yeah.
And you're
Close to.
You're close to. But at least right? Like the fastest thing that, we've just come from another studio. We saw them 6 weeks ago. We did a VIP session with them 6 weeks ago, right? In 6 weeks' time, they doubled their business. They went from 163 to almost 300. And we've never, like, Soph's worked with them. Shout out to Soph. They're in the $1 million studio program, but they had that little top up. We've never seen someone implement that quickly. And I don't mean like dirty implementation. I mean like they did the reverse forecast, they did their numbers, they just attacked. And they said to their teams, listen, I'm not expecting a perfect execution of this, but I want version 1.1 of this, and we're going to start today. And I feel like that is the lesson here across, whether it's multis, whether it's one big one, or whether it's 5 smaller ones, whatever the format is, we take everything away. The answer is always doing the thing.
Yeah.
Yep, you can't get away from doing the thing. Yeah.
It's literally just do it.
I think a lot of the time, and we're just talking about business ownership now, I think the biggest problem that most people have is they think they shouldn't have problems.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the thing is, like asking for help, because, we're pretty, like resilient and independent people, the three of us, and particularly Jacob and I, in that, we can figure it out. We'll work it out. We'll do it. We're in this. We're doing it. But recognising actually we need to make a change, because it's not going to be sustainable. Either we make a change where we become CEOs and business owners, not workers, or we have to get out. And that was probably the pivotal time where we became involved with Geronimo, not to sort of pump you guys up. That is the reality, is that we had wherever you get your help from, but Jacob had long been talking about wanting to find a business coach, and I was like, whatever, cool. Like, but it's been a game, because I probably didn't work in the business a lot. I was doing other things. I've got another profession. But since we've started, I've wanted to work more in the business, but didn't know how to work in the business without being a coach on the floor. How do you get a wage if you're not coaching? But then you can't coach, because if you want to go away, who coaches your hours that you're coaching? So to actually learn now, like to do the marketing, to do the number tracking, to do the recruitment, the playbooks, but there's so much I can do, and that's not on the floor. And it's awesome now to actually just have an idea of how we can work on our business rather than
If a business coach didn't happen for us, I was pretty well done, I think.
Yeah.
I was getting to that point where I was just like, fuck, I love doing this. I love the people. I love being at this studio, but I am absolutely getting burnt out. It's 5 going on 6 years of being in there every single day, And so that was for us. It was like, we need
So you just gotta put your hand up and if you get the help, then like we went all in and just went, this is fast, this is a lot, but
just do it.
Let's ride the wave and let's see where it takes us.
So is going broke.
Yeah.
That's a lot too.
Yeah.
It's just going.
And that would have been such a shame, dude. Like, I know you guys' story, like, you know, the origin story that you posted as well, that would have been such a shame for all those other little Jakes out there that wouldn't have had, you know, and the fact that you guys are moving into a bigger location, the fact that you guys are still rolling, like, I'm glad you found another way.
Oh, totally. It's awesome. You know, now it's going, could we do a third? No. No, kidding, Meg.
Whoa, hang on a second. Hang on.
I'm joking, Meg.
Oh, look, it's
breaking news.
Oh, no, next.
More breaking news.
More breaking
There's
news.
a second announcement, Meg.
But it won't be a takeover, it'll be brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that sort of half slipped out. Would you do a third?
I would. So if you asked me 4 months ago, would I do a third? Absolutely not. Knowing what I know now and knowing the processes and not having to dive in, I would be like, yeah.
Fuck.
It would be similar to Val, like sitting still. We want to sort of keep moving forward so that once we've got the two under control, we'll be like, well, okay, let's go. But I think we would definitely go through that checklist and make sure that both the studios are under control, you know, nearly under management, if you like.
Well, should be fully under management,
before
I'd
we
say.
would go to a third or a fourth. Yeah.
Well, okay, on that, if you were to go back, like, to the night before you guys made the decision to open the second studio, what would you say to yourself back then? Like, what advice would you give that version of you guys?
I'd genuinely say, like, make sure that your crew in the current studio know how to run the place and that they're not going to
Without
challenge
you.
Yeah, without you.
Okay, that's good. Same as you?
Yeah. And pay less for it.
That's good. That's good. That's really tangible. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'd say before I go to Val is don't expect a copy and paste. I would have saved 6 months of runway. Don't expect a copy and paste.
Yeah.
They are two different studios. They might be from the same parents. Like, I've got 3 kids, right? Like, same parents, but they're very different little humans.
Yeah.
They respond differently to different things. They morning person, night person, veggies, no veggies. Like, it's amazing. Same like blood. Same thing with the studios, right? Same parents eventually, even though one was, you know, it was like an adopted child, but same parents, completely different. So don't expect to copy and paste. I would have saved so much like head scratching, and I had hair like Val before I opened the second one. Val, what advice would you give to yourself the night before you opened 4 more?
I would probably do everything in reverse because I did everything the hard way, just trying to be everything for everyone and not focusing on the things that, well, they all matter, but not the things that matter to grow the business.
So what's the reverse? What does that look like?
Document everything, put the right people in the right seats, make sure the studio has everything they need to run the studio without you before you kind of move yourself away from it.
Yeah. Okay. What's been the biggest personal lesson from scaling? Because we always talk about, like in the academy, we always talk about business is one of the biggest personal development journeys, right? What's the biggest lesson you've learned about yourselves?
I think you get really good with setbacks. You get disappointed a lot of time when you think, okay, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to solve all my problems. A week later, like, nah, we're going to start all over again. We got to try something else, and just keep going. And you got to figure it out. Hopefully, you have someone in your corner that can give you a bit of advice and whatnot. And there's a lot of resources out there now to actually get that. But if you're out there and you're doing it yourself without the guidance, I think you got to be ready for setbacks. Even with guidance, like you gotta be ready for that. And pull yourself out of the trenches.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got 6 times, you know, opportunity to have a setback when you've got 6 years. Probably even more. Like I'm not even sure it's like a linear progression. I think when we went from 1 to 2, it felt like we went from 1 to 3. What about you guys personally?
You go.
Multiple, like more than one. Like probably one to start would be, you know, you can't do everything yourself. So I mean, sort of always just go through life. I'll if I want it done, I'll just do it myself. I'll get it done.
So interesting. So you struggled with that personally, like just the kind of notion of like.
Yeah, like it's just easy to just go and do it myself. Like just go solo, do it yourself. If that needs to be done, that needs to be filmed, that needs to be clean, that needs to be, whatever needs to be done, I'll just get it done. So to have to just let go of that a bit and then get better myself at teaching and training other people to do the thing.
And delegating.
Yeah, delegating and stepping back. That's probably been, it's certainly a big learning experience. And then probably tapping onto Val's, like really become super good at being agile and just focusing on what matters because, there's a lot of stuff going on in the periphery and, chitter chatter, whatever's happening. 1 week things are going well, the next week things might not be. So I'm always sort of like, things are never as good as they seem, things are never as bad as they seem. So you sort of ride in those ways. You get really good at sort of not overreacting to, really good surfing. It's the only surfing I do, even though I live near the beach. But you get really good at not overreacting to small things and really being able to narrow your focus.
That's interesting.
So they're probably two big ways I sort of feel like I've grown.
Personally, you had to confront letting go and delegating. Are you
control.
Jake, is she like a control situation? Meg?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Steph has always been one to like go at it alone because she's fucking good at everything she does. Everything she touches, she's really good at. And so why would she bother giving it to anyone else? Because they can't do it anywhere near as good. But why would she bother? Because 80% done by someone else is 100% fucking awesome.
My man!
There's a hook.
but that, genuinely, like that's it. Like Steph's really good at everything she does. There you go. Props to Steph on a podcast.
That's public.
There's
a third announcement.
I can't sing.
Yeah, she can't
or
sing.
Dance.
That's why I get.
There's a microphone.
But it's so much better to give it to someone else. And, we've even found that too. Like in terms of collaborating now, we went into silos and now it's kind of, okay, what can we actually replicate across two studios? Of course, they're different studios, but what can be replicated? Well, a lot of the higher end stuff can be. I think for sure.
What did you learn?
What did I learn? I think for me, heaps again, but also that like business is a skill and you can learn business. It's not a matter of just going,
I love that.
Oh, fuck, I'm from the fitness industry and I'm just really shit at business. I was always like, I'm really good with people, I know people, and the money will follow, which is true. The money will follow to a point, but if you're shit with it and you can't actually navigate it, then you're fucked. But you can learn business and you can learn the numbers and you can learn everything that you need. So reach out and find the resources.
I'm a big believer in your revenue is a feedback loop for yourself. Yeah. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Yeah.
I agree.
And sometimes it's a bit humbling, right? Sometimes it's like, fuck. Even if you're still not where you should be, it's like, it's okay. It's not bad or not good. It just is, but it's actually a feedback loop. It's the scoreboard of yourself as a CEO.
So don't worry about the surveys. Just look at your revenue.
Well, I think it's part of it. Yeah. I think it's part of it. Like, do you guys think you deserve more revenue?
Good. Like, yeah,
sure.
Totally.
Absolutely.
We put the work in. But again, like Val was just saying, do you put the work into the things that are actually that matter in terms of growing your revenue, or are you putting the work into all the periphery things which do matter, but they don't matter to growing your revenue?
It's almost unfair sometimes when we look at the people at the top that we work with, how seamless it looks for them and how much flow and like little work it looks like for those guys. But it's almost like, compared to the ones at the bottom who are fucking doing everything and, still have to sell a ski erg to pay for a trainer at the end of the month. But I think that, it's almost like the iceberg, right? You just see the tip of the iceberg, but what you don't see is like all the fucking years of them eating shit until they figure things out and they get to the point where they actually have earned that position because they've figured some stuff out about themselves, systems, and they can talk to you about. That's why I like the real G's, the ones that we talk to, like they can talk vision and they can talk fucking to the decimal on certain numbers and the exact tweak that they changed in their system to produce X result or their teams. That's the way their teams operate around them. It's like you can tell that they've put in their fucking work. Like I know for us as well, like just a tiny thing, like we went through some shit as well when we had the studios. Like the first time I explained to Soph this concept of an 80% rollover, which was almost 3 times out of the industry benchmark. Like if you think she's not good at arguing, you are dead wrong.
Oh, she's trying to get me to do my numbers on them.
She like the screaming, the fighting, and all this kind of stuff about the 80% rollovers. Like it was impossible. Then the question is like, well, what would need to be true? What would need to be true? Let's just forget about the fact that the industry is at 30%. What would need to be true to get at 80%? And then you list all those things, and then we reversed it, and then we just started doing it. And like the first wave was dog shit, second wave was dog shit, third wave was dog shit. But it almost felt like it was an overnight, and we'd have waves of 20 people at 80% rollovers. When you got it at any given time, when you've got 80 people going through your pipeline and 80% of them are going to stay, like that fucking completely changes the whole trajectory of your business. I mean, you want to talk about impact. As I love about you guys, and why we've got you here on the pod is because I know you guys are leading by impact and mission, and that's what we are for. We're not like money only solves money problems, really. Yeah. Like that's a study. They've shown that up until a certain point. I think it's like 75 grand or 80 grand US. Money does equal happiness up until that point, but beyond that point, it really doesn't. It becomes about capability and what else am I capable of, and there's a mission of helping others. So, look, the biggest thing I think for you guys and for anyone listening as well, we've talked about going from 1 to 2, and now we've talked about what it's like having multis and successfully, right? Like you guys want to go again. Val, is about to give birth to a 7th. God, you guys need a Tarago. Like the only way, and you guys already know this, so I know I'm preaching to the converted, but the only way that's going to work and not descend into fucking chaos is with systems, and then you guys becoming the best leaders you guys can be. No longer is your product the sessions, yeah? Your product is your people, and you guys building the machine that produces the results for your members and for your team members and like your gym members. You guys believe that?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Leadership, right? And sometimes it's about, it's probably the biggest thing that I work on the most because like the team do the work. They're much better at me than doing the work. But so I love that you guys all talked about onboarding. You guys all talked about values. I think your next big thing for you guys is, I think, Val, you might have done it. Have you guys done a vision book yet?
We're working on it.
We want to, yeah. We've seen yours, and we've had a really small discussion about it. But yeah, it's our next. Yeah, it probably is a piece of work we need to do soon.
Yeah. Val, have you done it?
Vivid vision, yes.
Oh, you've done the vision book?
Not the way, or maybe.
Is it printed?
No, it's not.
Is it in a magazine? Have you onboarded your whole team? Have you onboarded 40 people into it? And did 30% leave?
No.
Then you haven't done it.
I have not done it.
Okay. Like there's doing it and then there's doing it.
Yeah.
There's levels to everything, right?
Yeah.
Guys, when you do that, particularly across so many studios, right? Fuck. It's like, gives me goosebumps. It's a 3-year thing. It's a 3-year vision. It doesn't take you 3 years to do it, right? 3-year vision. Like we're in the 3rd year right now. I can't tell. It happened again today. At what time did it happen?
Oh.
But at 11:11 today, 2 days out from end of month, we hit something else that was in the book. It is spooky how much comes true when you really, I've talked to you guys about 300% rule, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
100% vision, 100% clarity, 100% of the time, right?
Was you right?
100% believe.
Oh, beliefs.
My man.
Belief in the vision.
We might just come up with a 400%. I love that.
400.
When you guys put that together and you just apply it every single fucking day, I'm telling you right now, like it's just for anyone that's fucking listening that believes in half of the shit I say, I cannot believe what's happening in our business and around us right now because of what I imagined 2.5 years ago, staring at a fucking fire, like coming up with a future for everyone. People in the team, people like, there's just, even the fact that you guys are here on a fucking podcast. I didn't have a podcast back then. Legit, like this is happening right now as we speak. I want to shake everyone to actually do this, sit down and do this. The homework, okay, fuck it. The homework for everyone Okay, here we go. If you go to my Instagram, hey.dozer, and send me a message, and the message is Vivid, VIVID. Actually, I think Vivid's on in Sydney. Is that right? And send me Vivid. I'll send you thank you. I'll send you the vision book and the book to read about it.
It's a good book.
We should put the book in the show notes.
My man. Jackie in the house.
What a guy.
All right, team. Big vision. You got a big one. You guys have got a big vision as well. Made a couple of announcements here on the pod.
Yeah, it's just getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, you've made us believe. Yeah.
Well, maybe I've just unpacked what's already inside you guys.
You've shown us the way, Dozer. Given us a path.
Oh, no. We just see a bigger future in you guys than like a lot of you probably even realise. So I think for some people, it probably even fucking scares them how big their future could be.
I genuinely, it's saved, like getting systems and processes has genuinely saved our relationship, I would say, because it just becomes a very much a, this is what happens, this is what happens, this is what happens, not a, I feel like we should do this and I feel like we should do that. It's like, no, this is the thing.
You saved Christmas.
You saved Christmas. Third announcement, boom.
Wow.
Christmas is back on.
We can't shift from that. Team, I want to thank you for coming on the pod.
Thanks,
Thanks for having
you.
us.
That wasn't so painful,
Pretty
was it?
surreal, pretty
That was
cool.
all right, yeah.
No, the guys absolutely nailed it. So yeah, congrats on your success so far and the progress so far. Like you only lose if you stop, and there's no such thing as like winning. It's just you're somewhere on the continuum of progress. Remember that, okay? And for everyone out there, on behalf of everyone out there, that's thanking you through the speakers and through listening or watching on Spotify, YouTube. Yeah, thank you for being open, vulnerable, and candid about your journey so far, being a multi. And yeah, you guys are the good ones. So congrats, and let's fucking make sure that we hit these visions, okay?
Let's do it, mate.
We are on. Yeah.
Great. So if you're happy with that, that's a wrap. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If something resonated with you, then do one of two things. Either leave a review or send this episode to a mate who's in the industry who might need to hear this. But if you want more right now, because your head might be spinning and you're like, all right, what the hell do I do right now? Then in the show notes, you'll find a link to where you can book in for a free 15-minute checkup on your studio, where we get to have a look at how you're going right now and where some of the kind of quick win opportunities are to get you moving faster. I can't wait to be back in your ears next week. And if you're listening to this right now, I want you to know that I love you, I appreciate you, I'm grateful for you, and I'm in your corner. You are on the right track and I believe in you. So keep going, and I'll see you next week.